Hello and welcome to Larp Book April 2025 edition, and we are with Divided We Fall, and we have Charlie and Andy with us. Now, also on the stream, obviously, my name is Stuart, you've got Rob, and there, of course, is James, whose name I have not put up, and the other person I've not put up, this person I've not put up. And Rob, I've not put up. It's going swimmingly as per normal. So, welcome everybody to the chat this month. Basically, I'm going to kind of hand it over again to Rob, mainly because I have done some. I have done some research. I had a good look at stuff and what have you. But as I told the group, I've just come back from an MRI, and my brain is like that. So, Rob, if you don't mind, I'm going to hand it over to you to begin with.
Hello. And also, chocolate chip cookies are good. I like 60s frames. So, hi everybody. We're here to chat about Divided We Fall. Oh, and Scarlett's just come on as well. So, Scarlett, if you want to embarrass Charlie or Andy with any interesting questions, please do so. And to anybody watching, if you've got questions, put them in chat, and we'll bring them up to Charlie and Andy for you as well. But I want to kick off with Charlie. Charlie, could you just give people who haven't heard much about Divided before a little bit of background about what the game's about, and a little bit of the flavour of the atmosphere as well?
Sure. So it's a post-apocalyptic survival event. It's the idea is we really are trying to kill everyone. Like that is the number one most important thing about the game. You got a 30-second death count, which is an extremely aggressive animal, and we really are trying to do our best to materialise it. Was it what do we have on the last game, Andy? Was it 14 or 15?
It's something about that. 8 in the last encounter, which doesn't sound like a lot, but considering our player base is around 60, 10% in one encounter is, well, pretty good going on our end.
So so that sort of gives you the idea of how dangerous, how difficult it is, and so that was sort of part of the design of the piece, that we wanted to be something really difficult, really dangerous, really aggressive, sort of giving people that that really challenging playing on hard mode experience. And at the same time, we wanted to make sure that it was sort of Andy and I have both been obsessed with post-apocalyptic stuff forever. We've played Fallout for far longer than any reasonable human should. We watched all of the Mad Max, including of course Mad Max 4 Waterworld, which we believe is one of the best Mad Maxes. And so we wanted to make this really beautiful sort of love letter to the post-apocalyptic genre, and so we've sort of got all of the beautiful sort of zombie kits. We've got all of the sort of world building stuff. And we wanted to do that sort of the gritty realism that the post-apocalyptic genre really lends itself to. So sort of not shying away from the dangerous or the difficult or the sort of the tough role play stuff. And added into all of that, we really firmly believe that LARP is for everyone. It's escapism, it's magic, it's, it isn't real life. It's an opportunity for everyone to get away from stupid real life stuff. And so we wanted to bake into that sort of very high production values, very dangerous post-apocalypse, a sense that it's really accessible. So, we want to make our game just as fun for someone that can, sprint really quickly and, climb through buildings and run away from zombies. Just as much fun for them as for someone perhaps that would like to play a character that is physically very able, but their hardware won't let them. So we want to give everyone the same opportunity. And one of the things that I was chatting to someone about today actually was the idea that accessible doesn't mean less than, and it doesn't mean that we're deprioritizing, able-bodied folks. We didn't say, oh, we hate straight white men that aren't in wheelchairs, like we want them to have a bad time. No, we deliberately set out to make sure that everyone gets something cool. So no matter who you are, we think there's something really exciting at Divided. If you like the post-apocalypse, if you don't like that, it's terrible.
That's fair. Actually, I
I
think that's a
say,
wonderful
well,
definition of accessible too. Both
I
you
mean,
go.
you described me to a T there, Charlie. Someone that can sprint through buildings, jump over things, and is a straight white man. Not me.
You should come to Divided, assuming that you like the post-apocalypse.
You got
I
a
mean,
couple right
everyone's
there,
just
John.
laughing about the sheer fact that I could possibly sprint at any point in my life. To be honest with you,
Once upon a time,
once upon a time, many years ago,
in a galaxy far, far
yes.
away.
In another lifetime and universe, right?
At which point, folks, I've got to do my traditional "I'm sorry" to Stuart on the sprinting front.
Yeah, I used to be able to sprint until Rob destroyed my leg. But there we go. That's another story for another time.
It's a long story involving a science fiction game and a swing and a steep slope. But we'll come on to that later.
Yeah.
This is
Right,
why you invite me along, is it?
Way in the future sometime. Let's get back to Divided before.
Yeah,
Stuart,
Stuart,
anything you want to add to it? Anything you want to chuck in there?
Yes, absolutely. So I did have a like I said, I did look at the Facebook page and the blurb then that I think went with the first page, and naturally I read everything in a voiceover movie voice. So very well written, and I was thinking to myself, I might actually just do this anyway, just for a giggle at some point. So yeah, I mean, I've always been intrigued by the post-apocalyptic stuff, so I will definitely be coming along at some point. Hopefully, we will come as a bit of a media crew for you or something, and do some stuff, because I do find that stuff quite fascinating. I am looking forward to the time you do a Waterworld one, just to see how you pull that off. That would be great.
Look, I believe that someone managed to book. I'm pretty sure that there was a player event run at Splash Landings at Alton Towers, and I am not above running a Divided We Fall bikini event. We'd all look dreadful, and no one wants to see me in a bikini. But it's. I feel like if we're going to have raids on Flumes, it would be Divided We Fall. Maybe Gritlands as well.
Right then, James, time to get the mankinis out, brother.
Going in the draw, yeah. It is an over 18s event, correct?
Yeah, correct.
That's
very
right.
firmly.
Well, if it wasn't before, it is now.
It is now.
So I am very intrigued. I have seen that you also won some awards as well, best creature or things like that, which I thought very, very cool. It is quite nice to win an award. We won one back quite a few years ago, but it is great to see that sort of stuff is happening. So I think we should bring Andy into this. You've been sat there very quietly so far. It's like, hey, Charlie said everything. Yeah, exactly. So what's your role in all of this, Andy?
I am apparently the straight man to Charlie's chaos. So I don't know how often that comes across, but generally we bounce ideas off each other, and then it as with all events, you refine until you can get the final thing to present to players. And most of my job is going, no, we can't do that, but actually this is how I would do it. So
yeah.
Andy's selling himself short there a little bit as well. He's Andy put together a lot of the rules around weapons, all of that sort of stuff. He takes the lead on anything to do with hitting people or shooting folks with blasters. and all of that sort of thing. And also, he put together, at least in the first instance, the vast majority of the really good looking props. So don't let him do himself down.
Will do. We will sort of have some questions and answers later on in the show. There are some coming in already, so do stay tuned for the questions and answers side of things. There was. Oh, do you know what? I had a question in my head, and then I said something else, and now it's gone. Yeah, Rob. That's what I think. That's what I was going to say. Is Rob completely understands the straight man to the chaos, chaos demon, chaos demon. All right.
Roughly how we've been running things for years.
Yeah, pretty much.
Yeah.
You know, let's go do this. So, yeah.
Actually, let me just bring James in a sec, because when we're having a little chat on Messenger, I think James had a few questions for you. So can we perhaps bring those in before we bring in coming in for the audience?
Yeah. So it was more of you did a little short stint of a video with Rob on the YouTube channel. You mentioned about fighting, and some people can go a bit nuts if they really want to, and then some people can lay back. How do you split that between so everyone gets kind of the same thing from the game, really?
Yeah,
so, do you want to take this, Charlie?
If I go for the sort of the broad strokes and then you pick up the detail.
Absolutely.
So it's one of those things where, being a smaller event, we can really refine things and offer, because we know each of our players, and now we're at the happy point where the next event is going to be event 5. We kind of know what our particular players like and enjoy, and so when we take an encounter out, we've got that understanding of, we can tell our referees to brief the monsters to do this, that, or the other, and we can really personalise it according to what we know is going to be fun for our players, and even for our monsters as well. So we can make sure that we send out the monsters that are going to enjoy it on the particular things. So it's we've got that luxury because we're a smaller game, and because we're incredibly fortunate that we can attract quite a large monster team as well, that we can offer that sort of more personalised experience. So that's the sort of the generals. Andy, if you want to get into the details, maybe.
So to try and have an approach to combat that appeals to a broad range, we have defined sort of 3 states of the absolutely no combat, talky encounter style thing. If a fight kicks off, everything's gone horribly wrong, and probably everyone on that encounter, every character on that encounter has died, because it's not supposed to happen and whatnot. There's the low com, which is the same sort of thing. So those video game-esque encounters where it's, if you fail the stealth section, it either goes really bad for you or really, really bad for you, is our mid-game. And then there's high combat, which is your traditional LARP combat scenario. You can try it in different ways, but we are expecting a fight. Everyone's briefed to give that sort of fight style. We also encourage our players and our monsters to work with enthusiastic consent. Everyone is an adult. Everyone knows what their limitations are, and everyone has mates on the other side. And we all know it's one of the joys of monstering for your friends playing is you're going to try and take them out one way or the other. And if you want to spear your mate through a table, you are allowed, as long as you get the enthusiastic consent in the moment. Because because I'm not going to stop you. If you end up in A&E because you wanted to do that, that's on you. But we can't. As Charlie said, it's part parcel of having a close knit small community system, because everyone can get to know each other and know that after a couple of fights, them Monster A is much more likely to go in for more of a struggle cuddle than this player prefers to stand off against each other. We can ramp up the intensity on whatnot, and sometimes you get those cool cinematic moments where you are literally boxing your mate on top of a car, and then just go, no, I'm surrounded by monsters. My character feels in danger, but I know I'm safe because I've got my mates. That's the sort of style we want to. We want to kill characters, have happy players.
Kind of makes sense.
That sounds a lot like what we used to do with some of the other systems. Sorry, I'm just saying thanks to my mate Chris from L3D Accessories, who said that I look hot. And I don't think he means in that way. At least I don't think he means in that way. But
this is the benefit of like systems like this. Like I first started LARP in a very small system of about 30 players.
Yeah.
And and it was exactly what you've just described. You're going to be fighting your mates on the other side, and you know how far you can take it with everyone involved knowing what you're doing. How many people are at the event? Your standard event?
So we started off at 50 for the first year, and then raised it up to 60 for the second, because we just wanted to make sure we knew we could deliver something genuinely excellent at 50, and we wanted to make sure that we did that. And then as we've sort of bedded in, we've gone, actually, I think we can sort of up that a little bit.
Okay, is that 50 player base or 50 player plus crew?
No, so it's 50 players. We had 60 players at the last event, and I believe we were at 41 crew. So we got really, really lucky with that. And that really does mean that we've got the folks that want to spend the whole weekend running around, being invisible, being zombies, and having the best time can, and folks that just want to spend the weekend role playing can. And it means that that isn't really anything that we've done. It's part of having an outstanding crew.
Yeah, absolutely.
Sounds like a big, small system.
I remember when myself and one of my mates, Andy, we've both done sort of stage combat courses and things like that, and we did an entirely choreographed big fight that in one game. So yes, the couldn't, unbeknownst to the ref, mind, but yeah, we already knew what the choreographed fight was, because it was for our examination, so we just went for it and did it.
And I think that was part of the design of Divided, because we've all had those moments at events where we've done something that is an absolute highlight, and we had to make really sure that the refs weren't watching when we did it. And part of the fun of it is sometimes that you're doing something that you're not supposed to do. Having a literally rolling skirmish down a hill at the big systems is sort of frowned on, but we wanted to enable that in a place where we felt that actually we could make it safe, and we could look after people, and if things did go wrong, actually, because we've got an absolutely outstanding medical team of genuine real life medics. So we feel that when we are doing immature and not very sensible things, actually we can do them in quite a safe way, or at least mitigate the risk there a little bit.
Rob knows nothing about throwing somebody over himself while shooting a gun. No, Rob knows nothing about that at all.
Not a thing. No, never happened. Fortunately, it was a small system, and nobody got hurt.
Yeah, I will say, however, as a comment from Scarlett. Hey, what's a little stabbing between friends? I completely agree.
Yeah, I couldn't agree more.
Yep. Okay, so we've talked a bit about what the actual game system's about. Yeah. Is this more of a goal orientated type LARP, or is this a just bloody survive with some things going on type of post-apocalypse?
So it certainly started as we have a framing story, we've got threats out there. Event 1 was very much us finding our feet, and as were the player characters. It was their story of them finding their feet. And through that, they told us what they were interested in. And so since then, it's been, how does this threat that they've reacted to develop more? What does this mean? They're interested in this part. Where can we go with that? And so we try to be as reactive as we can on site. Obviously, we can't do massive trips up the M1, for example, because they want to go and visit, I don't know, Sheffield. But if they say, can we go and raid the local hardware depot that the builders used to have, we could go, right, give us 20 minutes. Whilst you get yourself prepared for your excursion, we will see what's in the area, and then we can assemble an encounter. And sometimes that's just like a little short excursion mission. Oh, we just want to grab some supplies, like you're going scavenging in Fallout, or running into a new room to see if there's any bullets left in Resident Evil or whatever. But sometimes a monster will say something, or a player will interpret something, and we go, that's brilliant, let's go grab that and go. And we also have tried to incorporate player backstories, because we didn't know much about the world apart from what Charlie had written first for the first event. It was so when we had sign-ups with our players, that we literally said, just tell us where they come from. Give us a paragraph. And we got some really cool ideas, some fantastic ideas. And even though most of those characters aren't actually in the game anymore, we're still pulling on those backstory threads to present the ongoing storyline that has evolved.
I'm with you. Yeah.
So it's a little column A, column B.
It does seem like an event that a new player can come to and not feel overwhelmed by the lore of the existing system. Everyone's seen the post-apocalypse, like you mentioned, Mad Max, and it doesn't matter where you're from. It doesn't matter who you are.
Yeah.
You join the crew if they'll let you join. They might kill you on sight, but you never know the team. It allows that person to join and not feel overwhelmed, especially in bigger systems. There's a lot of lore, and people love lore. They love all the backstory. They love where things come from, and I've been part of conversations in LARPs and gone, what are they talking about? I have no idea. And in my honest opinion, I don't care. I just want to go out there, hit some things, come back, have a beer or a cup of tea, and then go back out there and do the same thing. And if I die, I die. There's been people that have been there for years and, have been part of the lore. And your system seems accessible for people that can't remember everything, because I forget.
Yeah.
And I'm with
I
these
make
two.
it up as I go along.
I'm with these two, and and I go, "What's happening?" And they go, "I don't know, I'm just filming here, or taking photos or whatever." And I'm like, "Great." It just seems accessible.
I think that's an advantage of the post-apocalyptic setting in general. It's the media language of I instant, after the fall of society, wasteland gangs, zombies, and minor feudalism and the downfall, and how capitalism is a downfall of society. That's like a very basic language that anyone can come into, like a horror movie or whatnot. You know what the tropes are. You know what the things are. You can go, oh, I can attach this. And while yes, we're only in year 2, and our player-facing lore isn't particularly deep or very easy to get onto, then compared to, say, one of the many fantasy or large sci-fi systems out there, where a lot of their game is focused around a particular aspect of their lore or whatnot. Being able to go, oh, well, okay, I understand what you say. Okay, this is a Mad Max and zombies. Okay, I understand what the basic attitude is going to be. I can pick up everything else from there.
Yes, it's modern day, but more like Cardiff. Got you.
It's
I said Newport, but
That's already
Would it be-
post-apocalyptic. Yeah.
would it be a fair thing to say that you've basically got an idea of a world, and we've got all the really cool tropes in post-apoc, but if somebody comes up with a really good idea, it kind of gets built into the game?
Yes, and in addition, any scenes from B movies that we've watched that we think that we can viably recreate, I'm still waiting for somewhere that's going to let me use the toilets to do that bit from Dog Soldiers with the spray can. We're working on it, but like. Any B movie quotes that we can reference, cinematically, and the whole thing is stuffed full of Easter eggs. We're intentionally putting things where people will go, does that mean yes? And if you think it means it, it absolutely is a reference to it. So if anyone picks up on where Nielsen Pharmacy is a reference to, I'll be astonished, because it was a stupid in joke from a B movie that I think one person will ever get. That's the level of it. It's just garbage.
Yeah, I understand. We do have one question that I'd like to pose right now, because I think it's quite a good one. I'll pop it up on screen and I'll read it as well. When you came up with the concept for DWF, did you have any particular goals or expectations that you have or haven't met yet?
Do you want to go first, Andy?
Actually, no, because this is a good one from me as well. Because I came onto this after you had presented this, so this is your baby. Let's see what you have to say about it.
I mean, like there's loads. So is there anything that we have achieved? Well, like I didn't really know if it was going to be possible. So the fact that we managed to turn it into this cool thing that's taken on a life of its own is very cool. I wanted to use it as a vehicle to explore some of the dark parts of humanity, and I think we're sort of doing that in a way that isn't gross, that we're doing it in a way that respects that people have got boundaries and might not want to go and explore stuff because they're bored of having it explored at them on a daily basis. And I think there's also loads of stuff that I wanted to achieve with it that we haven't got there yet. Like I was saying about scenes from B movies, the number one thing that I like, if we there are two. Fair enough. There are two things that I want to achieve with Divided We Fall. Number one is that scene from 28 Days Later in the supermarket. I more than anything, I think for me, that's such a post-apocalyptic moment where they're going around with the trolleys and they're having a lovely time and the beautiful music's playing and, they're just getting all of these lovely, happy supplies. There's the whiskey and everyone's talking about their thoughts and feelings. And then immediately after, there's just this absolute gross, awful moment. And for me, that was like when I watched that when I was much younger, like that affected me a huge amount. I was like, that kind of narrative storytelling is what I want to do. And I think we do a bit of it with the encouraging people to die, the best death cards, that we celebrate great ways of people dying by giving their next character a bit of a buff. And I think some of the deaths that we've had have been, genuinely outstanding, and they're the kind of campfire stories that people will talk about. So I think we're getting there. I want that one scene in particular because it's so cool. So I want to be able to set up a whole supermarket. That'd be great. And then the other one, obviously, is for both me and our amazing head of kit, Amber. We're both absolute electro heads, that we like really dodgy German goth music. lots of unts. Both of us think that the band V2A are astonishing, and they're basically a Mad Max gang that plays stupid German electro music. And both of us have agreed that if we can ever get them to turn up and be part of our baddie faction, because they also look, I mean, the baddie faction is based on them. The plot overview is based on a song of theirs that I particularly like. So if we can ever get them to turn up, I will throw a lot of money at making that happen and having a baddie raider gang on stage.
No problem. Just a quick shout back to the supermarket thing. Mr. Craigie has said we're more likely to get the supermarket from Hot Fuzz.
I mean, probably both. Almost.
I'm happy with either. I'm happy with either.
It's all right, Andy. It's just bolognese.
Exactly.
Oh god.
But yeah, so on my end, I've been thinking about post-apocalyptic systems since before I actually started LARPing, and it had various ideas. How can I make it fun and whatnot? What interesting mechanics can I do? But nothing solid and concrete until Charlie put out can somebody proofread these rules for me? And basically everything that I thought was right, everything I thought I was needed was there. And I was really excited to play. I was ecstatic to play. It was like, right, here's some idea. Here's some token examples for our currency. Here's some things. Here's some ideas of what I want to do. And then the fateful question came along of, do you want to help me run it? And I'm like, yep, okay, let's go. I'm coming at it from the sort of gamer perspective, because ultimately this is our entertainment. This is our a game that we're playing to have a great time with our mates. So as the players will say in our safety brief, I'm constantly making references to games like Resident Evil for our various damage states and whatnot, just so that they've got that visual pit in their head. They know, oh, I understand where that's coming from. So when we can do those little moments that you go, oh, that could have been a cutscene, or that was a piece of cinema, or how those unending waves and hordes, and that you're at the end with very little resources, and then the boss turns up, and it's just like, what do we do? You can see that the characters are having an absolute terrifying moment. The players are having the time of their lives, and it feels like, and I'll put in our feedback, the best encounter that certainly the one best encounter that I saw. Excuse me, sorry, I'm just about to cough. Nope, it's passed. You had that self-sacrifice moment in an encounter that was pretty hard when we wrote it down, and I just started adding more to it. It's like, we've got our instant death monsters in there. Okay, let's add the big hulking instant death monster. Let's add one of those sneaky gits in as well, just to get it, because whilst we want the players to feel like they are achieving and learning how to deal with the creatures in our world, you also want to start throwing wrenches at them, because then they're never too comfortable. One of our players did the self-sacrificing thing, pulled the pin on the grenade and pulled everything in, and it was just like that. That was the moment that I went, this game works. This is the game. We could do this until the end of the year and stop after event 5, and I would have said we would have ticked every one of my boxes.
Cool.
Because not only did we have the sadness and all of the crying aftermath from the characters, but the players were cheering. At the end of the encounter, the rest of the players who survived were literally cheering for both the player who sacrificed themselves, the monster crew that made it happen, the fact that they were alive. It was beautiful.
Fantastic.
Yeah.
And it's sounding to me like the sheer level of passion that you're putting into this project, this LARP, is palpable towards us. So why don't you tell people where A, they can find out some more information, B, when the next event is, and C, are there any spaces left?
So we're on Facebook and Discord. We've got a TikTok, which we sort of sporadically use. And at some point or other, I will get my backside in gear and do a website. But the ADHD is a tax, and it isn't letting me do it yet. And I've not managed to bribe it doing it yet. So there we go. We've got another event coming up in November. We are monstrously oversubscribed, so I think we're over 70 people have asked for a space. We've got 60 currently, so we're looking at upping. If it's possible to up it, but we haven't made that choice yet.
But if you are interested, please do register. There is. Events occur, dropouts happen, and we are always on the lookout for crew. If you think you might be interested, but you can't get that space, hop along to give it a go. There's always something to do, even if you just want to meander around as a zombie for most of the day. You are more than welcome to do that.
Sounds fun. And it's worth saying that we run a really inclusive policy on crew. And this isn't sort of an attempt to throw shade on anyone that doesn't. It's more an acknowledgement that we're really fortunate that we do manage to attract quite a large crew. So we are able to say to crew, if you're not a fighting person, then you don't have to do fighting. And if you want to do this, that or the other, then you can do that. And one of the things that I think is actually a real strength of our game is that anyone, crew or player, can bring out of character knowledge and turn it into mechanical benefit. So for example, I was fortunate enough to go to Weird West back when it ran, and I think probably one of the coolest moments for me in any LARP ever came from Weird West, where I was playing a character that was a deeply faithful Catholic preacher, and had one of the skills that I had was you had to learn a very long piece and recite it verbatim, and if you got it right, this amazing sort of big mechanical thing could happen. And so I was able to sort of do this and recite this very large section from the Bible to kill a demon. And for me, it was just this hugely evocative moment, and this, and I felt that sort of being able to do that sort of knowledge of the Bible and it getting me this huge benefit, it just felt really cool. And that was something that I wanted to replicate going forward and actually take it further. So I know very little about medicine. Our medical team, however, know a huge amount about medicine. And if someone came along to the game and wanted to use their real life medical knowledge, then we would make sure that they got a benefit from it. And like whatever skill you come to Divided with, I don't care. You can be, like a PhD in gardening, like whatever you've got will make your knowledge important and relevant and give you mechanical benefit. We absolutely are giving out pennies for real world skills.
That is interesting
cool.
and a nice way of doing that. Yeah, I agree. It's really infuriating, especially when you do know your stuff and then you look at something. Oh, I know how to fix this, but my character doesn't. Damn it.
It's infuriating, and we wanted to take away that stuff. We want our make-believe to be as fun and and also remembering what you can't remember is rubbish, and so not having that knowledge, or if the game has been designed in a certain way, I've got frustrated by it a couple of times where it's been designed in a certain way and I'm going, actually I know it doesn't work like that that isn't how I'm now trying to solve the plot by reading your mind, and I'm good at being a wizard, I'm no good at being a mind reader. So we wanted to remove all of that, and if you're an expert in something, Andy and I are quite happy to assume that you know better than us.
That's right. Cool. You do know that electric don't work that way, right?
It's an interesting mechanic, actually.
It
It's
is.
very cool.
It is. It is. It's a very good one.
So
Okay.
maybe Stuart, we'll go with our 3D printers, mate. We can make a mint.
Yeah,
we?
if you
Yeah,
can find a
but,
powerful enough generator, run them. I'm all
Let's go
for
power
this.
supply.
Yeah. Trust me, we will.
We've got Rob's car anyway. We could just use Rob's electric car to run them.
Yeah. All mine. Either one. Yeah, no problem.
Oh no, it's not a
yours,
problem, guys. I've got a small stock of Lithuanian mead. I'll bring that and power the generator.
Oh yeah, that's fine. Just put that in. Absolutely. Right. Has anybody else got any questions?
I think one thing is we've talked a little bit about sort of how big the game is sort of accessible, but just on practical terms, what can a player expect from like what your locations are like, and are they going to be camping? Are they going to be indoors somewhere? What's a practical? I know you've used a few different sites, and some really cool ones as well. But just as a general rule of thumb, what should a player expect at a practical level?
So in terms of that, we prioritize using really beautiful sites because, as we've said, we think that the post-apocalyptic genre is this cool visual thing, and we want people to really live and engage in that world. It's a 24-hour time in, so we want to give you that 24-hour time in. In terms of so the sites that we use, we don't pick because they're accessible. We make sure that we mitigate their inaccessible features. So, for example, the jail in Oakham isn't particularly accessible, but what it does do is it's got lots and lots of flat areas, and we make sure that anything that requires sort of running fast or going upstairs, that we've really signposted it, and that everything's a buy-in, and that if. So we try and make everything so that you could achieve it without having to do any of the stuff that you personally can't do. We also have a lucky escape mechanic, which basically means if you die or be in a situation that's unfavourable because your out of character hardware is non-compliant, but your character would be able to get out of it, just get out of it. That's not cheating. That's just making sure that everyone has got access to the same game and can play the same sort of thing. So that means, if you would have been able to read the thing, but you're dyslexic, so you couldn't, get a ref, they'll read it for you. If someone told you something and you would have remembered it, but you've got ADHD and you forgot, and then you went and gobbed off at someone that you wouldn't have done, that's fine. Like, we're not going to penalise people's out of character sort of states just because we think everyone should be able to do something. That's really boring. So what we try and do is mitigate, and so we're using the prison in Gloucester for our November event, which I know comes with a bit of a reputation for being inaccessible, but actually I hope that we'll prove that we're going to take a location that is absolutely gorgeous. So I went to a We Are Legends, and We Are Legends is another post-apocalyptic game which I really encourage people to go along to. It's superb, and they ran an event there, and I saw that it was able to be done in a way that actually the only times that I had to climb the stairs were because I chose a room upstairs to sleep in, and for a couple of missions that I knew were going to be super, super high combat anyway. And so I saw them do this. And, the We Are Legends team are brilliant because they take a really strong view of accessibility as well. So having seen them run an amazing event in a way that I think that we'd want to run ours in a similar-ish style, and not to say that we're copying, but the structure of the thing would look similar. And so it's I don't want people to be put off by the fact that we use beautiful sites that may seem inaccessible. We will do everything that we can to mitigate. And also, we know our players. And then, for example, if we know that we've got folks that have got mobility issues, might want to walk with sticks, but if we had someone that was going to bring their chair, and that they were either fully reliant on their chair or occasionally needed their chair, then we'd make sure that we sorted things so that so that it was right for them, and that nothing is going to end up excluding anyone. And one of the really important things as well is that you don't have to ask, or we don't want you to have to ask. So it's really boring when you've got to say, oh, actually, could you just do this for me? We'd really like to try and get things so that you don't have to ask. And we haven't got there quite yet. That we still have requests from folks saying, oh, actually, I'm not able to do this. Could you fix it for us? So we're not saying we're perfect at all, but just that we're really trying to take that. We want the onus to be on us to make it right, not the onus on you to say and offer us solutions. So we've got a head of accessibility and inclusion. So Becky, who I think is in the chat, but actually
It's
all
just
of the
commented.
oh yeah, excellent. And like all of the crew is super dedicated to that, and we write. So our rule set was written from the point of view of we want the rules to be accessible, and then if you start from that point of view, everything becomes that little bit easier. So we're not then having to try and retrofit to different situations. It's sort of part of the ethos. Andy, I don't know if you sort of wanted to add on to that in terms of particularly combat, perhaps.
Yeah. So as Becky in the chat has just mentioned, we are as most systems do site walks in advance. We try to get on boots on the ground and see what is available and what isn't available. And with our previous November event in Driftfield to HQ Airsoft, that was really helpful and really important because we really understood what sort of state the site was in to, excuse me, really sorry, to allow us to build encounters and areas that we could easily signpost to people to say, this has got the floor is broken in this area. So if you're going to go in there, because players will be players, they will explore at 3 a.m. in the morning when Charlie and I are asleep to try and find some loot that we've scattered around. We don't really want to discourage going into any sort of space unless there was an obvious and clear safety hazard, like a flooded basement, for example. In our last battle for our previous event at the jail, our home site, as it were, it was just a simple reminder that this is like a bunkhouse all the way through, but they've taken down walls to make the games here more interesting. So there's going to be studding on the floor. Please pick up your feet. Just very simple stuff.
Yeah.
We know it's going to be close quarters. We know it's going to be an intense fight. This is going to be a difficult one. We're not going to lie to you about that. Just look out for each other. Treat it like a mosh pit at a metal concert. You can knock each other around as much as you like, but we pick each other up. Our players and crew absolutely go hell for leather for each other. But at the end of the fight, it's are you all right? Shall we move out the way and let everyone else have a go? Is there any safety concerns that we need to address? Is this aspect of combat too dangerous to do in this sort of situation? And it's a constant review because we're never going to get it perfect. It's as we get more experience, we might be able to ease up on some limitations. We might realise we have to go harder on others. Games evolve.
Yes.
We can't.
Yeah. That is both of you. Thanks. That is such a cool answer. Thank you.
Yes. So, to be honest, I think it sounds like a great system. Yeah. And it sounds, again, like I said, sounds like the passion is there for it, and that's incredibly important these days for these types of things. So I think from myself, Rob, and James, Andy, Charlie, thank you very much for coming on, for giving us all of those details. Yeah, for having really good sort of interaction about this, and I for one can't wait to come along to one of the games and to absolutely do something stupid.
You wouldn't do anything stupid.
No, not
no.
what?
Not intentionally.
Oh, no, of course I can vault over that. Oh no, I can't. Right. So thank you very much for coming along. It's been an absolute pleasure. Should anybody want to get in touch with them, they're also on the Facebook page. I'm sure they will answer any questions. Also, as Becky said, they also do, in advance site walks, so they can answer any questions on accessibility, and they do make that information, available then to everybody, and I'm sure they will
And
answer
look,
as many questions.
so sort of just while we're in the realm of DEI and all of that, it's as I said sort of before we went live, I'm absolutely going to get up on my soapbox here because we've had some real rubbish stuff happen in the last week or so, and I feel like particularly the post-apocalyptic community and the world that the post-apocalyptic genre represents is a rejection of, as Andy said, rejection of that sort of capitalist consumerist stuff. It's also a rejection of being shit to each other. And, at Divided, we only ever happened because I looked at my mates that I really respect and said, oh, you've done that and you look like me, and actually that's the first time I've seen that, maybe I could do it. And then I've been supported by other people within the community and we've all built each other up. And the point that I'm trying to make is so last week there was this ridiculous transphobic ruling, and as a genre, post-apocalypse isn't about that to begin with. So number one, come and be safe in the post-apocalyptic apocalypse. If you don't want to tell us what your gender is, we don't care. If you do want to tell us what your gender is, then we super care. But Divided We Fall, along with, as far as I'm aware, all of the other post-apocalyptic systems in the UK are extremely gender diverse places, and we want to encourage people to come along on the basis that you're going to be safe at our events. We will do our utmost to keep people safe. I know that we've had people exploring their gender, their sexuality, and all of what it means to be them at Divided events. We've had folks that have felt empowered to put on outfits that they wouldn't have put on in the real world because it wouldn't have been safe for them, and it is safe at Divided. And more to the point, if the person that you really are isn't a person that's able to exist in the real world, and you want to be that real version of you at Divided, but you don't need it to get out into the world because that isn't safe, we will move hell and high water. Like, we will make sure that you're safe and we won't let that person be seen in the real world. If you want to come and be that real self with us, we'll keep you safe. So, fuck transphobic policies and be the real you, and we'll keep you safe to the very best of our abilities. And I'm so sorry to everyone that it affected. I just want everyone to know that this community is here for you. And furthermore, if you want to come to the Divided event and you think that ruling was an acceptable ruling, I'll give you a refund. I'm not interested in having transphobic people at our events. We're a safe place, and you can be who you want in safety.
You hear. Come and be safe in a post-apocalyptic world.
Yeah.
I think that should be your new tagline. Yeah.
Awesome.
You will be safe. Your characters will not.
Yeah, come and be yourself. But your character's not safe.
Like, I'm not lying. We really are going to try our best to kill people's characters, and everyone's like, "Oh, you're so nice and lovely." No, 30-second death count. That's really quick.
Slight tangent. We do have a par when we go to the jail. If we haven't killed a character in the first 15 minutes of time in, then we're not doing our jobs right. So far, we've met par.
Well done.
Perfect.
Congratulations.
Perfect.
Congratulations.
That's impressive.
Well,
yeah.
Thank you very much, everybody. I think it's about time because we're actually now running into 55 minutes of the show. Yeah, I know.
So
this is why I was trying to wrap it up. It was like, coming to 55 minutes now. Right. So thank you very much, everybody. Like I said, if you do need to get in touch, go and visit the Facebook page, etc. If you want to get in touch with us, Larpbook Show. No, was it? No, Rob. It's hello at
Hello@larpbook.com.
Hello at larpbook.com. Go across to larpbook.com for other features like this. Coming on the YouTube channel. Go and see the Facebook group. We're pretty much all over the medias, etc. So, from myself, Rob, and James, Andy, Charlie, thank you if you have been watching. Thank you very much.
Thank you very much.
We'll say goodnight there. While I find the finish button. There it is. Bye.
Bye.
Bye.